Yeah, Tom and I had such an incredible experience on Edge of Tomorrow, and you know, because it was like we push each other, you know, but it's also like a very honest relationship, and you know, it was the kind of situation where Tom's giving a performance that's not working, and I could be like, "Oh, Tom, and he'd just be like, "It's terrible." Be like, "Yeah, you were terrible." And he goes, "Yeah, I knew I was terrible." I'm like, "Yeah, no, you really were terrible." And you know, when you can have that kind of like honest relationship, and it's right, because eventually we're gonna face you, we're gonna face the critics, we're gonna face the world. So we might as well be honest with each other.
Now you say he pushes you too. I don't know if it's when it comes to the stunts. I know he notoriously likes to do everything he can possibly do, even to the point where they're like, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where he's pushing you partly, or were you open to that? Just go ahead and do your own.
No, I mean, you know, it's a great advantage as a filmmaker to have your star able to do the stunts, because you know you can then shoot it for real. You're not having to use visual effects or fake it or put cuts where you don't want to have cuts. So it was a huge asset for American Made that Tom is doing all his own flying. It's not a publicity thing. I mean, it really helps as a filmmaker.
Yeah, some filmmakers get nervous though because they're responsible for the film, so they're like, because he just got injured on another film, but that's the one thing that he's very different that way with you know, the fact that he absolutely insists on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this case, because it was airplanes, like,
and he flies
you're not, and I'm a pilot, so I really do know the risks, and it wasn't one of these situations where you're like worried if he's gonna like, you know, hurt his ankle. It was like, you know, because I'm in the airplane with him often. It was either me or Cesar Charloni, the DP, was in the airplane with him, and then someone else would be in a helicopter flying alongside. You know, you're like, if something goes wrong, like, I don't need to worry about the movie because I'm not going to be here.
Well, you know, and you were talking about, you know, when you would say your performance isn't doing too well, let's do it again. This is actually a different, we haven't really seen him in this kind of light.
Yeah.
It kind of almost reminded me of his days in Risky Business, this kind of...
No, I'm glad you brought up Risky Business, because that is, I mean, I like to think that I'm sort of showing people a side of Tom Cruise, you know, you haven't seen before, you know, because I do really like poking fun at him, and, you know, he is this international brand, but to be like, you know, I'm going to have him play a character that just flies in the face of sort of everything you think of when you think Tom Cruise, but the reality is that, like, what he's doing in American Made is not that far off from the film that really made him into a star in the first place, Risky Business, because Risky Business, he plays a high schooler who starts a brothel. In American Made, he plays a pilot flying for the CIA who figured out how to become one of the wealthiest men in America at the same time.
And it's just the crazy...
So same kind of opportunism, you know.
There's that wow factor, like, really? He's shoving money everywhere. I mean, nobody can relate to that. They can relate to, like, what that might feel like, but it's just one of those...
No, and I love that for Barry Seal. The money wasn't even what he was doing it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Like, he was just doing it to see if he could get away with it.
Yeah. And, you know, I know that there was, on set, you had an accident.
Yeah.
But it's out there. You're reading about it. It's not very clear, because what I understand, this didn't happen while filming. This plane crash.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear from you about that.
No, they were ferrying the airplane home, and it's just a reminder that, you know, flying is dangerous. I mean, Tom and I knew it. I mean, it's why I said, you know, I'm not worried about the movie. I'm worried about us and our safety. Sure. You know, because it's, you know, I love flying. I genuinely love it. I wish it wasn't as dangerous as it is, but the track record for pilots in small planes is awful, and it doesn't matter it hasn't changed in you know, in 100 years of aviation, like you know, it's measured by accidents per hour flown, and it's basically the same. There's nothing they can do. It's just, it's always the same number, the same percentage, like, you know, two fatal accidents per 100,000 hours flown. Like, it's just a reminder. I mean, we knew it every day filming that these airplanes are dangerous, and they are, and, you know, we're doing, you know, really, and then we're doing dangerous things with the airplanes. Right. We're flying them in and out of very remote airstrips. Tom's landing airplanes at night in an airstrip lit only by pickup trucks, or pickup truck, one truck.